Recording it again. The new stick technique. There's going to be more like this, and I'm going to, show them separately. Later on, you might mix them up in your playing, but first practice them separately, and really look very closely at all the moves that I do and where my wrist is, where my arm is, where my fingers are at the different stages in these techniques, and also with this technique. So what we're going to do is this. Testing with one hand. This is what we call a double stroke, because we do two strokes with one hand. And what you do is you move up your wrist. Now my fingers are against the stick, because this is how I many times play. Not squeezing it too much. It's the bird story again. It's like holding a bird. You don't want to squeeze it to death, but you also don't want it to fly away. So it's really light, but you have grip. This is the way that you can play from your wrist. Sideways, that will look like this. Right? So now what I do is I move up my wrist like this. My fingers are around it. And then in slow motion, I go down. I have to help it a little bit. Once it touches here, it wants to bounce up. At that moment, I'll loosen my fingers and make sure that it has all the room to move up. But around this turning point, this pivot point right here. Okay? So these fingers are opening up. This one is going along with me. But I have a little bit of a squeeze here so that it can turn around this point here. Yes, so one more time. Like that. See? So once it hits, that's where I let it go. Now, I can probably do this in a slow motion, so I'll show you that now. And then after this, I'll be pulling it down like this. So one more thing, the whole thing in slow motion. Alright? After this hit, my hand is still, my fingers are completely around it. Then I go up with my wrist for the second one. Again, I go down, and then when it hits here, I let these three fingers go and give some room here so it can turn there. Right at that moment. Don't hold it back, so it can fly back all the way here. Now, your stick might crawl back here. Just get used to it. At some point it will stay there, but maybe you might have to do some corrections to it. And then you pull it down again. Now, I'm holding it like this again. Stick against it. Maybe this finger is a little bit out. It's not all the way around it, but just a little bit out. Like that. And the other fingers are now completely around it. Again. Going up. And then I pull it. And it's a little bit off the surface. Not all the way, just a little bit. Now I go up. And then I go down again. Freedom to let it bounce. And I pull it. One more time. And I pull. One more time. And I pull. And this, of course, with your left hand, the same thing. Just like this. And then I pull. And this. And I pull. Now notice that when I do this, you see that my stick is actually below the table now. You can have the problem also with your foot being, or your leg being in the way. Then move it out a little bit, or move your pad a little bit higher, so the stick has the room here. Same counts here. You can see that. And then I pull like that. You see? And then I pull. And then I go up. Stick, fingers still around it. Slowly. Alright? And then you can alternate them. But first do a few times with your right and then a few times with your left. One of the hands might be better, and see if your other hand can learn from that. Make sure that when you go up like this and you pull with your fingers, that your hand is completely still. It's only your fingers doing the pulling. See that? Now I have to work it up to go there. But when I hit it, I don't have to do that because it's bouncing back. Like that again. So again, hand still and pull on your fingers. Yes. Okay. Try and do that for this week.